Are your Google Ads accounts just not growing? Are they completely staying the same or stagnating or even worse, decreasing? Have you looked at your metrics the past couple months and just seen your Google Ads going down slightly? It's nothing huge, but it's enough to raise alarm bells. Then this video is for you. I've been working with a large home fitness brand and doing coaching for this brand. This brand sells fitness equipment and they sell everything from resistance bands, which aren't that expensive, $10, $20, all the way up to benches, which can be up to $1,000. This is obviously an e-commerce store since they're selling a product. When I audited their Google Ads account, it was interesting. Everything looked fine on the surface. The ROAS was okay. It wasn't the best they've ever seen. They were making sales. They're getting traffic to the website, which again, traffic is not the goal. They wanted to have a positive ROAS over a 6 ROAS. They wanted to see the conversions coming through. And frankly, their budget was really, really healthy and the setup on the account was wonderful. But at the end of the day, the client was coming to me because their revenue was slipping and they didn't know what had happened in their account and they weren't sure where to look next. So what I did is I dug into the data and I realized, oh my gosh, this client is selling a ton of resistance bands. They weren't selling a ton of the $1,000 benches. And the client thought like, okay, well, that's fine. That's not necessarily a purchase that somebody could just make really quickly. It would be natural. They had accepted this as fact. But when I dug in, what I actually noticed is their bid strategy was set incorrectly. The bid strategy was set to maximize conversions instead of maximize conversion value. So essentially, Google was working exactly how it was meant to work. It was going after volume of conversions, trying to get as many as humanly possible, but not paying attention to the value of those conversions. So Google was prioritizing all this volume, not knowing that a bench costs 20 times as much as the resistance bands did. And the client obviously wants to sell more of the benches. So again, while the campaign looked good on the surface, it wasn't meeting the ultimate goals of the client, which was to maximize that return and profit for them. Things were looking really flat and kind of going down, depending on the data range that you are looking at. So how do we approach this problem? So after we identified the problem that they were using the wrong bid strategy, the first thing we did is to validate that they were actually even sending the conversion value back, because that is the most important thing, is that you be sending the actual conversion value back into Google. So a bench is worth this much, a band is this much, and so on and so forth. You want to pass that full transaction value so that Google is working with the best data that they can when it's trying to optimize your campaign using that smart bidding. So once we set this and we verified that we were indeed passing the conversion value and we switched their account back to the maximized conversion value instead of the conversion maximizing conversions, we next wanted to layer on a ROAS target because we didn't want Google to get every possible client, regardless of what the ROAS was. We wanted to stay within the ROAS range of the client. So we needed that layered on. So what we did with that is we started very conservatively. We ended up placing a ROAS on there of about a 4, and then we ticked it up to a 4.2. And then a couple weeks later, we moved it to a 4, and we slowly increased it to get to that goal of the 6 ROAS that the client desired. But we did this over the span of a month or 2. And the reason we did it slowly is we wanted the algorithm to go after more and more of those clients that were looking at the more expensive products. And the algorithm at this point had been trained to go after a lot of those resistance bands. So things didn't look like they would look had they been selling more benches all along and not had the algorithm running in this opposite direction. The interesting results were that within 2 months, the conversion value from Google Ads increased by 38%. And what ended up actually happening is the number of conversions dropped by 17%. So we saw an increase in the conversion value. They were selling more in terms of revenue and money, but what was happening is the volume of conversions had gone down, which is natural. You're going to sell less benches than resistance bands, which is really what they had all along. Had thought that that was just happening because that was logical, not happening because that's what they had told the algorithm to do. It's also worth noting that we kept their ad spend exactly the same. But what was really important is Google is now optimizing towards their business goal. Moral of the story in all this is that your setup can be absolutely, completely perfect. You can have the right keywords, the right ad copy, the right strategy, But your bid strategy, in terms of what you're telling Google to go after, is set up incorrectly. So if you tell Google go after volume, it's going to go after volume. But unfortunately, that's going to have Google chasing the cheapest conversions possible to get all that volume. But when you give Google the value-based signals and tell it to maximize the value, it will do just that. It's like switching from a wide net to a precision net. You're really zoning in on the actual target that you want for your business. So ultimately, you're going to get fewer of the conversions that you want, but they're going to be the ones worth keeping. Anyways, long story short, the client was left my consulting very, very happy. So wanted to share this with you and let you know that if you're having this problem, this is how we approach it. And this is something to certainly look at within your account. Thank you once again for being here for the Google Ads Strategy Hub. I am all over the internet. I talk about Google Ads all day, every day here on LinkedIn. And if you like this episode, go ahead, subscribe, make a comment, or book a one-on-one coaching call. Thanks. I'll see you on the next episode. Happy optimization.